Welcome to the MLB Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guys Nate Weitzer on the East Coast, and we got Mo Nuara in the Midwest. And we are looking at the MLB slate here for Friday evening, night, depending on where you are. Plenty to choose from here, with plenty of games kicking off in the evening time and nighttime, depending on, like I said, where you are. But we will get into a bunch of these nighttime games here, some of the best bets we do like for this evening slate. Make sure you do like and subscribe to that page. Continue following along with us all MLB season during these weekdays, as we will be bringing you a video each and every one of those weekdays. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to FDPicks.com or DKPicks.com. Find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's jump into it.
Yeah, the only game that's off board here on Earth Day, Friday, is the Cubs at Wrigley Field, tipping off at 2:20 because of that being a city ballpark, ordinances and all. But then we dive into a huge slate on Friday. Cardinals -120 at the Reds. We got Brewers +110 at Phillies. Kind of like the Phillies there, though. The Red Sox +118 at the Rays. Corey Kluber now on a one-year deal with Tampa. The Rockies +120 at Detroit. Marlins +135 at the Braves right now, as the Braves are getting stomped. So we'll see if that changes. Blue Jays are +138 at the Astros. We're throwing Verlander. White Sox in a toss-up at the Twins. O's +160 at Angels. Dodgers -175 at Padres. Mets -125 at Arizona. And then the Royals, slight underdogs, +115 out in Seattle. I think this White Sox game is an intriguing line. I mean, to just get them at a toss-up with the Twins team that's clearly rebuilding, and a pretty young boom-bust guy in Bailey Ober, who faced Chicago 5 times last year. And I always like targeting a guy that's seen, that the other lineup has seen so much of him. And obviously, if they've seen some success, that's even better. They had a 2.43 home run per 9 ratio, 9 homers off him basically in those 5 starts. And he's a guy who will live up in the zone a little bit too much. A young guy makes some mistakes, and especially against lefties. This is pretty stark. I mean, career 26% line drive rate with just a 28% ground ball rate against lefties. So they're going to elevate the ball and hit it hard. I would look at some props for Yasmani Grandal and Lurie Garcia maybe. I don't know if you believe in Kopech, or really if you believe in the White Sox bullpen behind him, because I don't know, he might only go 4 or 5 innings at the most here. His xERA is way, way worse than his actual ERA through 2 starts here. I don't know if he's getting lucky, but he has limited hard contact, produced a very high 21% infield fly ball rate. And yeah, I mean, he did do well in 5 relief appearances against the Twins. Just 7 innings, allowed 1 earned run. So I don't know, Mo. What do you think about this pitching matchup?
I think it's one of the most interesting on the slate. Just from the standpoint, we don't know a whole lot about these guys. As far as Ober goes, I actually like Ober. He looked pretty good last year after doing well in the high minors, but in a really small sample. He only pitched like 8 starts in AA and AAA. But then when they brought him up, so he was very good in those. And then when they brought him up, he did well at basically everything besides allowing home runs. So that can be a little bit fluky. So we have to see kind of where that number stabilizes. And then on the other side, man, when Kopech debuted, I got to say, I was really impressed with him. I thought he was going to be awesome. He's quite a talent for sure. And it's just, we got to see if he can get back to that level. He also gave up a lot of home runs, high BABIP as well. So his numbers don't look the best, but just when I watched him, his stuff was like electric. So if he can get back to that level, it's going to be huge for the White Sox because he would raise their ceiling so much. But not the best start for him so far. Still getting the command back, which I think is generally the last thing to come back after Tommy John. So it's not that much of a surprise. 42% zone rate, I would say, is like a pretty big red flag, but still in the small sample territory. So not anything I'm like too concerned about. And like I said, the stuff is like really, really great. So I'd like to see him get back to that level, and just a pitcher to watch for sure going forward.
Yeah, I think both of them are. I'm also super intrigued by this matchup, and do you think there's reason to see some positivity here from both of these guys, and consider an under for sure. I think, yeah, I mean, in terms of the Twins, Aubert definitely, I think he's got a little bit more of a positive light so far to start the season. Just, I mean, he's lasted a little bit longer. Did face a nice Red Sox lineup last Sunday, I believe, when they played them, and went 6 in that game. So, and didn't surrender any runs. So, he's already started to look good against a nice offense there. And as far as Kopech, I mean, he got things right against a nice against a very struggling Rays lineup right now, missing a bunch of key players too. So, I think there's a bit of unknown to your point, Mo, but I think there's some opportunity to maybe get ahead of both these guys playing well and a bit of value on the total there. But let's move on to another game here that should also be super interesting as we look at the Blue Jays headed to Houston there, taking on the Stros. Verlander is back on the mound. I think there's also some reason to think that there's some positivity coming from him. Mo, what do you like in this game?
I love Verlander. He looks like he's back, honestly. I don't think anything to be worried about with him, to be honest. Still throwing hard, still missing bats. Just looks pretty much like vintage Verlander. I mean, you just don't see too many guys going long innings like he did the other day and did well. So I think we should be confident in Verlander going forward. I don't have much confidence in Stripling at all. I thought he was pretty good a couple years ago. Seems like he's kind of tailed off quite a bit. But that being said, I did have this line as pretty fair. So wasn't going to play this one, I don't think. So I think actually Nate had a more strong opinion on this.
Yeah, I think there's some ways to get creative with it, not just to take the Astros at minus 160 and not necessarily to try to do the run line either, but just to back Verlander and say the Astros offense will produce, minus 110 for them to get the first run on the board, minus 110 for them to reach 4 runs first. Or maybe Houston money line and the under at plus 205 for some good juice there. I don't think Verlander's given up more than 1 or 2 runs, and he probably will go 7 innings. I mean, he's just so good against righties. That slider's still working. Is now incorporating a cutter a little bit more as he's come back from Tommy John, and the velocity is the same. Like, he has 100% strand rate in 3 straight starts. That's the veteran coming to play in key situations there. And yeah, Stripling, you look at his 3rd straight season now where he's allowing a 10% barrel rate or higher. He's throwing only 91.5 right now on his heater, which is minus 20 for his career in terms of the rating. And the Astros offense, while it's slumped in 1 series so far at home, obviously was elite last year at home, really pounded the Blue Jays bullpen too. And I mean, in 6 versus Toronto last year, scored 7 runs per game, hit 323 with a 950 OPS, and at home had 5 homers in 3 games. So I think Stripling's another guy who's not going to go more than 4 or 5 innings. Verlander should have a long, strong outing. So I think there's ways to just bet on the Astros being up at that point and starting well.
Yeah, interesting that you guys are that confident in Verlander there against this lineup that just every time I look at it, it's just overpowering for the Blue Jays. But at any rate, let's finish up here. I mean, at least I don't know if you guys want to talk about another one, but I'll just move on to the 3rd game we're going to talk about. We'll see if we've got a bonus 4th for you. But I think we're talking about Royals here, right, Mo? And I think Brad Keller has something, once again, sort of some positive light in his near future as well for some of these pitchers that we do seem to like in this slate here.
Yeah, the Royals, not one of my favorite teams to bet so far. I think I've actually faded them many times, and I don't believe I've placed a wager on the Royals at all. But this looks like it'll probably be my first one. I do think Brad Keller's decent. I had him as a decent pitcher already. And it seems like he's maybe taken a little step forward this year. So he never really was able to get a feel for a changeup in his career. It was just kind of a show me pitch that he threw like 5% or less of the time. but he seems a lot more confident this year. He's throwing it like 11% of the time. And his fastball has gained a little bit of juice, up half a tick. So combine those two things, and the results have been a little better so far. Big jump in swings outside the zone, dip in contact outside the zone, an increase in swinging strike. It just seems like he's kind of fooling hitters a little more and working out of the zone a little more effectively. And then on the other side, you have Chris Flexen, who I thought was probably one of the luckiest pitchers last year. He outpitched his Sierra by more than a full run. And I think chickens are kind of coming home to roost a little bit on that. He's not able to get the baseball by anybody still, just really low swinging strike rate, really low K rate. And when batters do make contact, they're making pretty hard contact so far. Could just be a small sample thing. Still obviously early in the season, but I just think based on like the fact that he's really not fooling anybody, it's probably some signal in there. So I'm interested in fading Flexen, and I'm interested in betting Keller. So I guess it doesn't really surprise me to see that I'm higher on the Royals on Friday than the price on the overnights.
Yeah, and the Mariners have half their coaching staff out with COVID, if that's going to help. I mean, they are winning tonight here, but that can't be a good sign. I do want to bring up this last game because I think Mo's being a little hard on the team that has his heart here in the Braves, saying that Trevor Rogers and the Fish are going to control the action at plus 135. I mean, there is some value for Rogers, but the Braves are hitting lefties well. I mean, they're top 10 in average and top 5 in weighted runs created plus against lefties. And Rogers so far, his contact rate's up 10%, his outside the zone swing rate down 10% this year. And he went 0-3 in his career, in 4 career starts against the Braves, 6.75 ERA. I think maybe they can keep getting to him.
Yeah, this one is not for the faint of heart for sure. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pull the trigger on it. We'll see if the line gets a little bigger, but yeah, Trevor Rogers has been atrocious so far. But man, he was so good last year. I just, unless there's something wrong with him, I think this line's too high, but it's definitely possible there's something wrong with him. A little bit of uncertainty on the other side too because of Kyle Wright. He was horrendous. I had like pretty much given up on him ever being good after he was a good prospect, but he looks great so far this year. So really curious to see how real that is, I guess. So interested in this matchup, no matter if I bet it or not.
And how have you been betting the Braves so far this year?
Oh man, I was all over them against the Dodgers. Didn't work out for me.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes then. That is all the time we have for this one. It is tough to bet on the team that you do love. I failed to take advantage of a great start from Carrasco today for the Mets against the Gigantes. Wish I would have hit that like I wanted to, but was scared because I was wondering if I was maybe had a veil over my eyes in the form of a New York Mets banner. But at any rate, like I said, we will wrap things up here for today. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to come back with us as we'll be here every single weekday with you guys with these game videos. And until we see you next, happy betting.